There was a U.S. Navy strike on a boat this week. You just heard Tom Homan talking about it. The administration alleged this was trafficking drugs for the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. 11 people on the boat were killed. J.D. Vance tweeted, "Killing cartel members who poison our fellow citizens is the highest and best use of our military," to which a liberal commentator, Brian Krasenstein, responded, "Killing the citizens of another nation who are civilians without any due process is called a war crime." And then J.D. Vance responded, quote, "I don't give a shit what you call it." Scott Jennings, thoughts?
Well, I'll give you my political view of how I think most Americans are going to view it, and most Republicans certainly, and that is that societal decline is a choice. And when you let people come into the country by the millions, when you let drugs flow over the border and you just say, well, let's just get them here and then see how the bureaucracy sorts it out, most people want a more aggressive response. Societal decline is a choice, and they see this illegal immigration problem and this drug flow problem as part of overall societal decline, and they are hoping and looking for and happy with Trump and Vance taking a muscular response to this.
Well, so wait, I want to read something that Senator Rand Paul said and come right to you because you used to work at the Justice Department under Biden. Senator Rand Paul, a Republican from Kentucky, said, "JD, I don't give a shit Vance," that's his words, not mine, it says, "killing people he accuses of a crime is the highest and best use of the military. Did he ever read To Kill a Mockingbird? Did he ever wonder what might happen if the accused were immediately executed without trial or representation? What a despicable and thoughtless sentiment it is to glorify killing someone without a trial."
Well, I'll say he has a lot of fair points there. I think there are things that the administration could be doing that are unlawful, and there are legal questions around it. But what I'll also say is that no administration, Republican or Democrat, has been for cartel leaders. Everyone has worked to arrest and extradite cartel leaders. But the way that they've done it successfully in the last administration, they had a dozen cartel leaders from the Sinaloa cartel that they extradited or arrested, is through the help of that country. And you have to have the intelligence from that country in order to arrest and extradite people. Once you start going around and killing people without coordination of a country, that intelligence often stops. And that is the last thing the Americans want, is for that to stop.
I just don't know how you get intelligence from a country like Venezuela.
Yes.
I mean, how? You have to stop their operational capabilities, number one. Number two, I would think about the 80s and the 90s and how drugs impacted the black community. Think about how drugs impacted poor white communities coming from south of the border. And so if you were to ask many of those family members who saw their children die or children get strung out on drugs, many children, the children of those people have parents that were in prison as a result of that drug addiction. So to me, you got to do everything you possibly can to destroy these guys. And arresting the cartel leaders, that's not enough, because you arrest one, then someone else rises to the top.
What do you think about this strike?
Well, I mean, I think we all want drugs kept out of our country, and we should be firm on that. I also believe that in America, you get due process, and just being accused, I haven't seen any solid evidence, and I look forward to having a full confidential briefing in Congress. We deserve it.
These are transnational terrorist organizations. We have to stop thinking of these people like they are just jaywalkers. They're not. They're terrorists. If Middle Eastern terrorists were on a boat trying to come into the United States with materials that would kill hundreds of thousands or millions of people, we would bomb them into the Stone Age or to the bottom of the ocean, which is what we did with this boat. We have to think of them that way. They are terrorists. They're coming to terrorize our communities, kill our children, and create societal decline in the United States. That is what we have to reframe our thinking on them.
Well, let me ask you this. There was a time during the Biden administration's chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan where people thought they had intelligence on an Afghan van or truck, and Americans struck it, and it turned out it was just an innocent family. I mean, that is the difference between summary execution by the military and extraditing and arresting. So while there's no reason that I know of as of now to think this was anything other than what the Trump administration says it was, it is always possible that the best men and women on the job might make a mistake, and you can't take it back when it's an execution.
President Trump demands unflinching loyalty from Republicans. Otherwise, it is viewed as an act of betrayal. And now the Republican who has become perhaps the most disloyal is about to endure MAGA wrath. That's Congressman Thomas Massie, who has led the charge to release the Jeffrey Epstein files in defiance of the president. New this morning, brand new reporting with my colleague Sarah Ferris about how Trump has met with a prospective Massie primary foe as a Trump-aligned group plans to spend millions to defeat him. And Speaker Johnson and GOP leaders don't plan to stand in Trump's way.
Mr. Speaker, do you think that Thomas Massie deserves to be reelected?
Thomas Massie has to make that decision himself. I mean, he is actively working against his team almost daily now, and seems to enjoy that role. So he is, deciding his own fate. My way is to reach out an olive branch to everybody and try to be a peacemaker, and some people make that very difficult for me.
My panel's back. I mean, typically, a leader defends the person in their conference because they're a member of their conference.
Yeah.
This situation is different, and Johnson is very clear where he stands.
Yeah, absolutely. GOP leaders are just going to let him hang himself here. He's such a pain in the side for them that they wouldn't mind if he's gone, and it would be a red district regardless. But look, this whole thing it's a case study in whether a Trump antagonist in Congress can survive. And I mean, Manu, we've covered the Hill for a long time during the Trump era. The answer to that question has always been no. I mean, think Liz Cheney, Jeff Flake, Bob Good.
Bob Good, yeah.
History just sort of strewn with the bodies of, political folks who criticized Trump and then lost, their seats. The difference here is that Massie has such a strong brand in his district as this sort of libertarian, independent thinker. And Trump has gone after him before, saying he should lose a seat in 2020. He won that primary by 60 points. But the difference now is that you have people like Chris LaCivita who are jumping down his throat, helping organize and raise money and come after
Trump
him.
campaign aide.
Yes, and that guy doesn't like to lose, so it's going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, and this is just a taste of what people are seeing in the district. Look at how much money that's already been spent by this Trump-aligned super PAC. $1.6 million by MAGA Kentucky. Massie spending just $418,000, and that is just to defend himself, in a sense. Just to what viewers are seeing back home. Watch.
What happened to Thomas Massie? When did he decide to start voting with the radical Democrats?
I'm sure you've seen the attack ads by now. I'm not folding, I'm fighting, and I'm just getting started.
The message they're trying to send here is that if you stray, like the way Massie did, you're going to see that in your district. That's the message from the Trump team.
Yes.
To anyone who wants to break from him.
Absolutely. And Massie is unique in another way. On foreign policy, on votes around Israel, he has attracted for years the enmity of pro-Israel groups. There was money on the air in Kentucky last cycle. But before any of this happened, a lot of people want to beat him. His message has been, no, I'm with the base. The leadership might change based on what Trump wants, but I'm with you. On the Epstein thing, he is with the base on that. On foreign aid, increasingly with the base. Can he get through that? Because the rest of the ad, that the MAGA PAC ad you were showing, says that because he voted against Trump, he voted for sex surgeries for minors. And it makes him look like a liberal. The bet is that the rest of the Republican base can go along with the party in Congress and say being a true conservative means supporting the leader, not diverging on your own issues.
Yeah, and that's the key point here is Massie is with the base on these issues that leadership is mad at him about. They're the ones who split with the base on Epstein.
On the debt and deficit, he voted against the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. And because of the base.
We've been saying for years we were going to cut the deficit. That's what MAGA has been saying for years. Yeah. And so, I mean, and there are people like Marjorie Taylor Greene who are with Massie and not necessarily being attacked by Trump. And we can talk about those dynamics being a little bit different. But what they're saying is, hey, we are not afraid. Matter of fact, the threats that came from the White House saying it would be a hostile act to support the discharge petition, they did not like that messaging at all. And to them, I think they think they're on more solid ground. Massie says, hey, come at me. He's kind of saying, come at me. I can stand it. I can withstand it. So it'll be interesting to see, because this is a split in the Republican Party. We talked about the split with the Democrats. This is a clear split in the Republican Party.
And just the more on that split, I talked to Massie about this. He shrugged off the attacks from the president and the speaker as well. But also some folks on the right are not with him in this fight either.
The speaker's position depends on him rubber stamping, not just rubber stamping, but reinforcing anything Donald Trump wants, even if Donald Trump is wrong. So the speaker's in a tough spot.
Day down just about 1/10 of a point. This slide coming in the wake of a brutal jobs report indicating that President Trump's policies appear to be weakening the U.S. economy. And there it is. There is the bell. It gets cheered like this every, the crowd there, obviously, having the chance to do this. But of course, it has been a difficult day from an economic news perspective. Just 22,000 jobs were added in August. That caused the unemployment rate to rise for the first time in nearly 4 years. The jobless rate, 4.3%, is now the highest it's been since 2021. You may remember what was happening back then. Manufacturing jobs fell for the fourth straight month, which means America has lost 78,000 manufacturing jobs so far this year. Now, of course, this is a president who ran on trying to bring back just these kinds of jobs, bring factories back to America. He promised a golden age. Today's numbers, nothing but bad news on that front. So let's be real. Almost 8 months in, it is definitely Donald Trump's economy now. His tariffs, his strong-arming of businesses, and perhaps most notably of the Federal Reserve. The market's facing a massive amount of uncertainty. We're starting to get a little bit of a clearer picture of what that means, because today, faced with data showing that the economy is cracking, the administration's explanation, well, it's basically just to blame anyone except President Trump.
The holdovers from the Biden administration were just...
Republicans are learning a lesson that we taught them. We mentioned this, and also, to be fair, history teaches us this, that fascism turns inward. It focuses at the start on an external enemy or a perceived external enemy. And for Donald Trump, that's terrorists, socialists, communists, undocumented people, etc. As you go, we're going to get the bad guys, right? But what always happens with far-right movements, and this includes Trumpism, MAGAism, is that they eventually get bored / run out of the external enemy and have to start turning inward. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing Trump focus in the last few days more than average on a Republican Congressman Massie and a Republican Senator Rand Paul. Because Rand Paul is saying, look, you're illegal, unconstitutional, without congressional approval bombing of other countries' boats doesn't really fit small government anti-interventionist principles. You ran as the pro-peace candidate against warmonger Kamala Harris, right? And look, you're the one doing the warmongering. And look, I'm not even going to defend Kamala's foreign policy. It was bad. She had decent domestic policy and bad foreign policy. But Trump's foreign policy wasn't just bad, it was abysmal, right? And so, like, this idea that, like, oh, like, we're going to be the small government freedom party, and actually we're just going to bomb other countries' fishing boats, and we're going to bomb Iran without congressional approval and in total discordance with international law, making the United States a criminal nation. It's a war crime nation now. Them and their best little buddy Israel are two war crime nations. And Donald Trump is helping to make that an even bigger reality than it's been historically. Right? Right? And then you have him attacking Massie because Massie's like, hey, why don't we get to the bottom of this, secret ring of millionaire and billionaire sickos that Trump may have been a part of, and I'm going to listen to the women that were hurt. And now that's causing a fight. Donald Trump will always turn the fascist guns inward. They started attacking the undocumented people, etc. But eventually, Republicans, you're going to get it too. And you need to realize that.